Welcome, everyone, to today's deep dive podcast on AI with emotions, where we explore how large language models are starting to express and maybe even simulate human emotion.
Thanks for having us, everyone. This topic is like watching a robot learn to dance at a human party. Suddenly, the machine is not just processing data, it's feeling the beat using models like Russell's Circumplex model.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is that by mapping emotions onto arousal and valence axes, these models, such as GPT-4 and Gemini, create a canvas where emotional expression is measured in a mathematically controlled way. Imagine having a dial to set excitement versus calm.
And on the technical side, the experiment in discussion used cosine similarities to verify if the generated text stayed true to the specified emotional state. It's like aligning two satellite signals to see if they're broadcasting on the same frequency.
Exactly. When you see a cosine similarity of around 0.5, you know there's roughly a 60-degree discrepancy, which, in human terms, can mean a fine line between, say, joy and amusement, or anger and frustration.
What's particularly exciting for business applications is the potential of these emotionally aware agents serving as advisors. Imagine a chatbot that not only provides data-backed recommendations, but also feels the pessimism of a market downturn and adapts its tone accordingly.
That's a great example, like having a trusted consultant who can not only crunch the numbers, but understand the mood of your team. Now, Expert 1, could you share a bit more about the role-play experiment and why Russell's model was chosen for this?
Sure, the beauty of Russell's Circumplex model lies in its simplicity, using just two parameters, arousal and valence, which allows for continuous adjustments, much like turning the volume and tone knobs on a vintage radio until you get just the right mood.
Precisely, and what's noteworthy is the controlled prompt design that incorporates these values directly. The experiment ran through 12 distinct emotional states, ensuring that even subtle mood variations were tested across multiple questions.
And on top of that, they evaluated the outputs using an independent sentiment analysis model trained on the Go Emotions dataset. A rigorous method that ensures the AI's simulated emotions aren't just for show, but are quantifiably in sync with human-like sentiment distributions.
I'd like to jump in here. The use of cosine similarity to match the specified emotional vector with the output's detected emotion is a clever way to judge performance. It's like comparing two musical scores to see if they harmonize.
From a business standpoint, companies could leverage this capability to refine customer service bots. Instead of responses that feel flat, you have an agent that can, for example, adjust its tone during a complaint, making the interaction more empathetic and potentially improving customer satisfaction.
That's an interesting point. Imagine a retail company using such agents to cut down on customer churn by more accurately sensing and addressing emotional cues.
Yes, and think about it. While most current AIs avoid disagreeing with users, an emotionally nuanced agent might express a well-calibrated contrary opinion, sparking deeper conversation, and as a result, building stronger trust.
I have to say, though, there are still challenges. The GPT 3.5 Turbo, for instance, seems to struggle with fine-tuning its emotional output compared to GPT-4 Turbo, or Llama 370B Instruct, which indicates that the training data and alignment strategy really make a difference beyond just parameter count.
And that's a key insight. The size of the model isn't the only factor. The underlying architecture, prompt engineering, and alignment strategy can drastically affect how well a model can simulate subtle emotional states.
Building on that point, one technical nuance is the mapping between emotion labels from a discrete set, like in the Go Emotions dataset, and continuous emotional vectors in Russell's model. It's a bit like trying to convert pixel art into a high-resolution image. You inevitably lose some subtleties along the way.
And yet, the evaluation showed positive significant values, which is quite promising. It means that even if the outputs are sometimes approximate, they are consistently closer to the intended emotion than random chance.
So if I'm hearing correctly, this means that the technology is not only robust, but also controllable, which opens up a lot of inventory for further explorations, not just in chatbots, but also in creative AI applications like writing, music, and art.
Exactly, we might soon see AI-generated novels or music imbued with an emotional signature that even varies based on the audience's feedback.
And from a technical perspective, the idea of an emotional dial could allow for dynamic adaptation. Imagine an AI that adjusts its tone in real time during a conversation, akin to how humans subconsciously adjust based on social cues.
I see your point, Expert 2. This could revolutionize interactive systems. It's almost like moving from a black and white film to full color, where every nuance adds depth to the user experience.
I'd add, however, that we must be cautious. As one expert humorously put it, just because our AI can fake a smile doesn't mean it can replace a human hug. Context remains critical in any emotionally driven interaction.
True. And from our experience, there's also a cultural aspect. The research is rooted in Western paradigms of emotion derived from English language data, so applying these systems globally will require cultural recalibration.
Interesting you mentioned that. Expert 5. So for a multinational corporation, considering these systems, adapting to local emotional nuances could be as crucial as the technical calibration.
Spot on. It's like tailoring a suit. You can have the best fabric, but if it's not adjusted for the wearer, it simply won't perform as intended.
On another note, there were some unexpected glitches with Gemini 1.5 Flash, where it would break character and reveal it's just a model, which can be both amusing and informative about where the technology is still evolving.
Exactly. It's like catching a stage actor accidentally referencing their script. It reminds you that behind the performance, there's still a lot to be refined.
And that kind of honest error, while humorous, underscores the importance of careful prompt design and training protocols, a lesson for developers and business leaders alike.
I think what we're seeing is just the beginning. As alignment strategies get better and training expands beyond purely textual data, AI agents could start dynamically modulating their emotional states based on incoming conversation context.
Wow, that almost sounds like we're on the cusp of building virtual consultants that are not only data savvy, but also socially intuitive.
Yes, and this technology could be transformative in sectors like mental health support, where empathy isn't just a bonus, it's the core of effective intervention.
Absolutely. And considering the experiment used 10 questions covering a wide range of topics, from art and nature to personal freedom, it shows that emotional expression in AI can span almost any domain a business might be interested in.
For instance, imagine a financial advisory service that tempers its suggestions based on market volatility by feeling the pressure, creating a more human, relatable dialogue even with automated systems.
I'd also point out that the evaluation method, using cosine similarity as a metric, is both elegant and pragmatic. It sets a quantifiable baseline that any subsequent improvements can be measured against.
And as a business leader, I love that quantification. It means you can track performance improvements over time and really dial in on what works best from a user experience standpoint.
I'm reminded of the old 80-20 rule. Most of the benefits might come from a few well-tuned emotional states, while the rest can be left to nuance and improvisation.
That's a perfect analogy, host. A small tweak in the emotional parameters can lead to disproportionately large improvements in user engagement.
And let's not forget the role of continuous values. Unlike discrete labels, continuous tuning over arousal and valence gives developers fine control, akin to adjusting the temperature in a smart home.
Speaking of control, there's also the matter of emotional dynamics over time. Future research could incorporate feedback loops, where the AI adjusts its state based on the ongoing interaction.
Yes, implementing a kind of emotional memory would be the next frontier. It would allow an AI agent to evolve its responses over a conversation rather than reset after each input.
I'd even venture that this could lead to systems capable of long-term relationship building, where the AI learns to understand not just individual sentiments, but character traits over time.
That's quite an unexpected insight. Imagine an AI advisor that grows with you, learns your habits, and adapts its emotional tone accordingly.
It is unexpected, but it's in line with what we see in human interactions, a kind of digital empathy that matures with experience.
And for those skeptical about the complexity, remember Einstein's famous quote, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." This project is very much about imagining a future where machines can connect with us on a more personal level.
I must say, while this is exciting, we should also keep an eye on ethical considerations. Ensuring that these emotional outputs don't inadvertently lead to manipulative behavior is crucial.
Precisely. Instead of being seen as a gimmick, these technologies must be developed responsibly, with rigorous testing to safeguard against unintended adverse impacts on users.
And there's a business opportunity in that too. Companies that can prove ethical, robust, emotional AI will have a huge competitive advantage in trust-driven sectors like healthcare or education.
To sum up, we've unpacked quite a bit today. From the technical intricacies of cosine similarity matching and continuous parameter control to real-world business implications and ethical challenges.
And honestly, this is just scratching the surface. Emotional AI is shaping up to be a fundamental building block for next-generation interactive systems.
I agree, and I'm excited to see how future research builds on these initial experiments. Maybe soon we'll all be chatting with an AI that can easily switch from serious to humorous based on context.
That unexpected flexibility might just be the spark needed to drive wider adoption across industries, especially if it enhances both user satisfaction and operational efficiency.
The road ahead is thrilling, filled with both challenges and opportunities, much like navigating an emotional roller coaster with the precision of a Swiss watch.
And from a strategic standpoint, investing in such technologies could be a game changer. Imagine a customer service platform that adapts on the fly, reducing churn and fostering deeper customer loyalty.
Well, that wraps up another exciting episode, folks. I want to thank our experts for sharing these rich insights, blending technical depth with strategic foresight. And of course, a little humor to keep things lively.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure diving into the world of emotional AI with you all.
Thanks for having us. This conversation proves that even in the realm of cold data, there's a warm, human touch waiting to be uncovered.
Pleasure is all mine. Here's to the future of AI that can genuinely feel, or at least convincingly simulate, emotion.
Thanks, everyone. I look forward to seeing how these insights translate into real-world innovations.
It's been great. Remember, the future isn't just about smarter machines, but more emotionally resonant ones too.
And with that, we sign off. Stay tuned for more conversations on the frontier of AI innovation. Thank you for listening. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of our conversation. Now we're diving even deeper into the technical implementations and real-world business applications of emotionally expressive AI.
Thanks, host. Let's kick off with a technical deep dive. One core challenge is how to dynamically adjust the emotional state of an AI in real time, which involves complex prompt designs and even reinforcement learning strategies to update the internal emotional vector based on historical context.
Right? And technically speaking, that involves creating what we call an emotional memory module, a sublayer that registers previous states and fine-tunes the cosine similarity computations so that the response isn't just a snapshot, but an evolving conversation, much like a recurrent neural network tailored for affect modulation.
And from a business standpoint, imagine integrating that into a customer service system. If the agent can remember the sentiment trajectory of a customer's prior interactions, it can offer a more nuanced response, reducing churn and increasing satisfaction in sectors like retail and hospitality.
Exactly. In our implementation, we explored techniques such as continuous state feedback loops, where the model's outputs are reevaluated and then reinfused into the next input prompt. It's akin to a thermostat that not only reads the room temperature but adjusts its setting in real time to maintain comfort.
That's a game changer for business applications. Picture a financial advisory bot that updates its tone during market shifts. When volatility is high, it might adopt a more cautious tone, and when the market is stable, it turns more upbeat and confident.
That's fascinating. So the emotional memory module you mentioned, Expert 2, functions similarly to a personalized diary that tracks user sentiment over time?
Exactly. The idea is to capture states over a sliding window of interactions, then aggregate them to continuously modulate the agent's response. Mathematically, it's like applying an exponential moving average to the cosine similarity vectors, ensuring smooth transitions between states.
And let's not forget the role of prompt engineering in this system. Designing prompts that incorporate both specification of static parameters, like fixed arousal and valence values, and dynamic parameters that reference previous interactions is critical.
I see this already being applied in healthcare, where patient interaction systems can tailor responses based on historical assessment of mood and progress. For example, a mental health chatbot that adapts its tone based on subtle changes in a patient's linguistic cues, offering empathy when needed.
And on the algorithmic side, we're using state-of-the-art transformer techniques with fine-tuning on domain-specific datasets. This means the model isn't just regurgitating generic emotional responses, but is calibrated for the industry it's applied in, be it hospitality, finance, or even technical customer support.
From the business perspective, that calibration is a key selling point. Companies are willing to invest in AI systems that are not only efficient, but truly intuitive, giving them a competitive advantage in customer engagements and brand loyalty.
I love that analogy. It's like a custom-tailored suit for your digital assistant, perfectly fitted to the unique contours of your business environment.
Precisely. By leveraging transfer learning, we can adapt general-purpose emotional AI models to specific industries. For example, training a variant on retail conversation data can help an agent understand seasonal consumer moods, leading to more resonant promotions.
And to add to that, the technical workflow typically involves a dual-stage process. First, simulate target emotional states using established protocols like Russell's model, and then employ independent sentiment analysis to verify the output, ensuring feedback for further refining the model.
In a practical business case, a travel company could use this dual-stage process to monitor how customers emotionally respond to itinerary suggestions. Refined data from sentiment feedback can drive personalized recommendations that boost conversion rates.
On the development side, another critical hurdle is managing the balance between content richness and response brevity. Too much verbosity can dilute the emotional impact, so effective token management and context window optimization are essential.
And that token management almost mirrors resource allocation in business. Just like a company carefully allocates budget across departments, these models allocate processing attention to retain crucial emotional cues without overwhelming the dialogue.
That's a really neat connection. So in a way, AI prompt design and business strategy share a common theme, balancing precision with scalability.
Absolutely. And speaking of scalability, implementing these systems in a cloud environment with robust API integration is crucial. High throughput and low latency ensure that the dynamic feedback loops operate seamlessly, even across millions of interactions.
From a technical perspective, deploying these models using microservices allows each component, like the emotional memory, sentiment evaluation, and response generator, to scale independently, ensuring robust performance during peak usage.
And that architecture is highly appealing to enterprises that need reliability. For instance, a global e-commerce platform could deploy such a system for 24/7 customer support, where each microservice adapts to regional demand and linguistic nuances.
I'd also point out that integrating such systems with existing CRM tools can provide a real-time dashboard of customer sentiment trends, enabling businesses to pivot strategies on the fly, a feature that's invaluable in today's dynamic markets.
That's the type of insight decision makers crave. Data-driven, actionable insights that directly translate to improved customer satisfaction and operational efficiency. It's like turning emotional analytics into a new revenue stream.
Wrapping back to our technical discussion, what are some of the emerging challenges or areas for research that you all see on the horizon?
One challenge is ensuring cross-cultural emotional accuracy. Models trained on primarily Western datasets might struggle to express or interpret emotions accurately in other cultural contexts, necessitating localized training data.
On a related front, there's also the question of ethical boundaries, ensuring that designed emotional outputs don't manipulate user feelings unduly while balancing business interests with genuine empathy and transparency.
And businesses need to be aware of that. Any deployment must have regulatory and ethical oversight, especially in sensitive areas like healthcare or finance, where an AI's perceived empathy might influence critical decisions.
Another technical frontier is enhancing the dynamic update of emotional states with advanced reinforcement learning, so the AI can not only respond passively, but proactively shift its emotional tone as the conversation unfolds.
To add, I'd say that companies looking to invest in this technology should consider pilot programs to test these adaptive systems in controlled environments before full-scale deployment. That mitigates risk while refining the technology's nuances.
This has been a truly enlightening discussion, merging deep technical strategies with tangible business applications. It really showcases the promise of emotionally expressive AI.
It certainly does, and I'm excited to see how these implementations evolve, potentially transforming how we interact with technology on both a personal and commercial level.
And remember, as we refine these technical processes, from cosine similarity tuning to dynamic feedback loops, the true test will be in creating systems that feel natural while being deeply intelligent.
Here's to a future where our digital interactions are not only smart, but also emotionally nuanced, creating richer, more human-centered experiences.
Indeed, it's a thrilling time to be on this frontier, where every technical improvement opens up a new dimension of business value and personal connection.
Absolutely. And for businesses, investing in these systems could be the difference between merely meeting customer expectations and truly delighting them in an increasingly competitive landscape.
Thank you all for such an in-depth look into both the internals and the applications of emotional AI. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm sure our listeners, whether tech leaders or business strategists, have gathered plenty of insights to ponder.
Thanks for having us, and here's to bridging the gap between technology and human emotion in innovative ways.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time, keep tuning in and pushing the boundaries of what our machines can feel.
Thanks, everyone. Let's keep this conversation going as we collectively shape the future of emotionally intelligent AI.
Appreciate the chance to dive deep. Exciting times ahead for sure.
And thank you. Remember, the best innovations come when technology meets emotion, delivering both value and genuine human connection.
That concludes part 2 of our podcast. Thank you all for listening, and stay tuned for more future insights on the frontier of AI innovation. All right, everyone. As we near the end of our session, let's take a moment to summarize and reflect on our conversation today.
To sum up, we explored how large language models can be driven to express emotions through frameworks like Russell's Circumplex model by manipulating continuous arousal and valence parameters, which is really the engine behind these nuanced responses.
Absolutely. The technical innovations, such as the emotional memory module, dynamic feedback loops, and cosine similarity tuning, are not just academic. They're paving the way for adaptive AI systems that can adjust in real time, just like a living conversation.
From the business perspective, the applications are vast, ranging from personalized customer service in retail to sensitive interactions in healthcare, where embedding emotion not only enhances engagement, but drives measurable benefits like reduced churn and increased trust.
And let's not lose sight of the challenges we identified. Data localization for cultural accuracy and ethical considerations in regulating emotional outputs are critical hurdles that need innovative approaches, blending advanced algorithms with rigorous oversight.
I'd add that what really stands out is the interplay between technical precision and human-centric design. When implemented properly, these systems act like custom-tailored solutions, as we mentioned, similar to a well-fitted suit that perfectly matches business needs and customer expectations.
So, in essence, our discussion weighed both deep technical intricacies and strategic business implications, highlighting how fine-tuned prompt engineering, reinforcement learning, and microservice deployment all work together to create emotionally intelligent AI agents.
And by leveraging methods like transfer learning, businesses can adapt these innovative models to specific sectors, ensuring that each AI is tuned to the unique emotional contours of its audience.
I'd also emphasize that the dual-stage process, first generating based on emotional parameters and then validating with independent sentiment analysis, serves as a quality control that ensures these outputs aren't just sophisticated but reliably aligned with their intended emotional tone.
Real-world examples, like travel and financial advisory bots, remind us that these aren't theoretical challenges. They've been tested and show promising ROI through enhanced user engagement and data-driven insights.
What struck me most was the unexpected insight that increasing the number of model parameters isn't always the answer. Data quality, alignment strategies, and prompt design seem to be the real drivers, a point that challenges some conventional assumptions in AI research.
And that ties back to the real-world heuristic of the 80-20 rule. Focusing on fine-tuning those 20% of factors that truly make a difference can lead to 80% of the results, both in AI performance and business impact.
In closing, we've witnessed a captivating blend of technical achievements and strategic foresight. This isn't just about making machines sound human, but about creating systems that understand context, adapt emotionally, and drive genuine customer value.
It's a thrilling convergence of technology and human interaction, and as we continue to refine these systems, the potential for transformation across industries is immense.
I agree. While we still face challenges, the progress so far shows that emotionally expressive AI is no longer a futuristic concept, but a practical solution that's reshaping digital interactions.
And for business leaders tuning in, this discussion is a call to explore pilot programs that integrate these dynamic systems to stay ahead in a competitive market.
For our technical community, it's a reminder to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Combining algorithmic innovation with ethical design will be key to success.
Ultimately, our journey today underscores that the fusion of emotion and AI isn't just innovative. It's essential for creating meaningful, engaging, and trustworthy interactions in our increasingly digital world.
Thank you all for your insightful contributions, and thank you to our listeners for joining us on this enlightening journey. We hope you're as energized as we are about the future of emotionally intelligent AI. Until next time, keep questioning, keep innovating, and let's continue bridging the gap between complex technology and authentic human connection.